Hey guys, just waiting to see some people come in and then we'll get started. All right. Let me know if you are here. I see people coming in. There we go. Cirrus 1976. Hey Nathan, hope you are well too. You guys are awesome. So while you're, coming in and saying hi and all that, also say whether or not you watched the debate, because I like to make these streams as interactive as possible. Um, it wasn't as much of a dumpster fire as the other one was. I was kind of in a really weird way bummed out about it, which is really fucked up. I'm just gonna wait another minute to see if a few more people join. Hey, Robert. Oh, you're in for a treat then. You get to learn by my take. It's always pretty interesting. Oh, why did people say circus? And you know what's funny, Suras? I'm actually legally blind. So, yeah, considering I have hardly any vision, I'm pretty proud of myself. All right, so I'm going to get started in a minute here. I took notes because I like to actually quote things. I'm not a super fast writer because of my, visual impairment, but I like to get the words right because sometimes one word will change everything. So tonight was the second debate, but also the final debate, which is so beyond weird. I would like to go back and research how many presidential debates were last time, but I know there were at least 3, so maybe there is only 3, and because Trump backed out, that would make 3. It just seemed like 2 debates for a president. I don't know, it seemed kind of crazy, but not that anybody else wants to actually sit through more. But I watch so you don't have to. That's my gift to you guys. So at the beginning of the debate, the moderator announced that more than 47 million votes have already been submitted. Now, the thing about that is it doesn't say who the votes are for, but 47 million votes, that's a lot of votes. But the thing that maybe there would have been last time too, we didn't have mail-in voting, so who knows, there's no way to tell if that's like unprecedented. Okay, Nathan. Yeah, 3. That sounds right. Um, yeah, I'm one of like millions who voted for Obama twice, and I'm like, God, was I duped? Um, so I digress, but the one difference tonight, and she didn't really seem to do it a lot, but the moderator was saying that she was going to mute the candidates after every 2 minutes so there wouldn't be interruptions. But didn't to be quite honest, it didn't really seem like she used the mute button that much. Like they were both kind of more chill tonight. Um, so it wasn't nearly as much of a clusterfuck. Like there wasn't really like a lot of name calling or anything like that. Surprisingly, they definitely shot up Biden with whatever he had on a few of those debates, because he didn't even like stumble or anything for like a good hour. It was I mean, Trump was bad, but bad in the biggest way he was bad was because, he just talks in exaggerations. Um, he doesn't give specifics. Like he'll be like, people have been coming to me all year and saying I did this and I did this and I was the best at this and the best at that, but nobody has a name. Nobody, it's just very just very grand, but no specifics. Um, so the tonight the debate was divided into 6 topics. Um, so the first topic was, of course, COVID. Now, I was kind of looking forward to this because I haven't heard Joe say a damn thing about what he's going to do, just that he's going to end it, which I think is interesting considering people do actually say that it's a Trump virus and imply that it wouldn't exist if Hillary was president. Um, so, it's really crazy, that Biden's like, if I become president, I'm going to end it. When you think about it, they're testing for vaccines for it. So are you going to end it, or are you just going to happen to be president when, an actual vaccine comes out for it? It's kind of like, when you happen to be in office, when something bad happens and you get to have credit. Um, like Giuliani in New York for 9/11, and Biden, Biden will always say something and then he'll go, I shouldn't, I, my time is up. Well, tonight Biden brought up Giuliani and he's like his friend I shouldn't say it, but no, I'm going to say it, like his friend Rudy Giuliani. But he wasn't talking about like being a perv or anything, because that would be hypocritical as fuck. But it was funny that he even had trepidation about mentioning him at all. Well, Gretel, the thing is, Biden also, a few months ago during the primaries, Biden literally said at one of his campaign rallies, we're going to cure cancer. And you know what was even worse than saying that? People stood up and applauded. Like, I just, the willful ignorance of so many people is just, it's sad, but it's also scary. Gooniani. Um, okay, so Trump was talking about having COVID, and he's like, my son tested positive, and then a few days later he tested positive, and they said, or he tested negative. So he said the kids don't have anything to worry about. They should all be back in school. And Trump then said, since I had COVID and I got better, now they say I'm immune. I don't know about that because there's been a few reported cases of people who have gotten it again. I'm not, I'm not certain either way, but I think he's, you can't believe anything he says anyway. And Biden said, the moderator asked Biden, what would you do differently during COVID? How would you, take the reins? And Biden said, I'd make sure we encouraged people to wear masks and open up schools and businesses. I'm going to take care of the virus and I'm going to end the virus. Okay, so but what are you going to do? Okay, encourage people to wear masks. Okay, cool. I do too. Now what? What are you actually going to do? Just nothing but platitudes for anything. It's disheartening. It really is. Trump said, when the virus was starting, and yeah, good one, Gretel, he'd shoot COVID in the leg. Trump was saying that Joe called me xenophobic because I wanted to block out the Chinese since they had COVID. And Biden's like, no, that's not why I called you xenophobic. I called you xenophobic for another reason. And I laughed, but at the same time, I'm like, you are so fucking xenophobic as well that it's just not as funny. Yeah, he's gonna sniff out that virus. You know what, though? They said that one of the symptoms if you get COVID is you lose your sense of smell. Dude, Joe would not know what to do. That'd be bad. Trump said we can't lock ourselves in a basement like Joe does. We're learning to live with it. Oh my God, that shit was fucking funny. Biden said about Trump, obviously, his ineptitude caused them to not open gymnasiums. What? Gymnasiums? Isn't that what you call in high school? You have the gymnasium? Is that honest question, is that what you call when you go to the gym? When you go to work out, is that a gymnasium? Honest question. I've never heard it's called that. Oh my God, a gymnasium. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm not crazy. He said gymnasium. And all I could think about was dodgeball in elementary school. Let's go to the gymnasium and, have gym class. I'm thinking of Gold's Gymnasium. Um, it's just so weird. Um, Trump said, we're not going to have a country if we close it down. I was like, well, that's fucking profound. Um, Trump said if it were up to him, every single thing would be open in every single state, um, which is pretty terrifying. Yeah, Janet, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Um, Biden said he was being facetious. I've never really seen any kind of personality from him. So Biden said, uh, not that many teachers of you guys are going to die. So that I thought was like, wow, he actually is using sarcasm to make fun of Trump. That was interesting. Um, Trump was the moderator was actually telling Trump like you insulted Dr. Fauci by saying this and the other thing, and uh Trump goes, I get along very well with Dr. Fauci, and I think he's a Democrat though, but that's okay. um Then they moved on to national security. Biden, Russia, China, and Iran will pay a price if I win. What exactly does that mean? I know what I think it means because he was VP under a warmonger. So I think it means we may be going to war with even more people. But yeah, that gave me chills. Russia, China, and Iran will pay a price if I win. That makes me nervous. Because you know what? Here's something interesting that I didn't even realize until someone pointed it out. Jimmy Carter was the only, president in US history who didn't start any new wars. So is Trump. I didn't even think of that. Like, Trump hasn't started any new wars. As much of a piece of shit as he is, I didn't even realize that. So, I don't know. I was just kind of really shocked when someone pointed that out to me. Um it's pretty crazy. I mean, he's his own kind of terrorist for the United States, but the fact that he's so abhorrent in so many ways and he hasn't started any new wars is pretty weird. I'm thankful, but yeah, he did say something about North Korea too. Um Then they were talking about election interference. And Trump goes, oh, all you Dems and your Russia, Russia, Russia. And I was like, holy shit. I just saw like Jan Brady, like Russia, Russia, Russia. That meme just popped in my head. It was kind of awesome. I'm not going to lie. And then Trump was like, they were talking about, how they have reported, election interference again. And, Trump said, yeah, and it's going to be just like last time. You spend millions and millions of dollars going to court, doing all this research and investigation, and they find absolutely nothing. And, that was the biggest bullshit thing, we all knew they were going to find nothing. And all it did was made them look weak and embolden him and his supporters. It was just a bad idea. Just not a good idea. Trump said to Biden, "You've taken money from Russia." This I don't know about, but Trump lies a lot, so I'm gonna have to dig further. Um, I'm not entirely sure what Trump was getting at when he said that to Biden. But Biden said, "I've released 22 years of my taxes. Either show yours or stop talking about corruption." So I was like, okay, well, that's fair enough. But at the same time, I'm like, why are people so obsessed with taxes? Like, I personally don't give a flying fuck. I really don't care. I didn't care about Bernie's. I don't care about Joe's. I don't care about taxes. I mean, like, the thing is, everybody that's freaking out about Trump's like $750 or whatever, like, I get it. But at the same time, what he did was legal. So if you're that offended, complain about the system that let him get away with it. The fact of the matter is, you know, paying $750, yeah, it's absolute garbage. I paid more than that. But he's doing what the laws are allowing. So people need to, you know, just kind of go to, the source that's actually making the rules if they're that offended. Um, then Trump said, I have no idea what he was talking about. Like, this was just so out of the blue. Trump said, to Joe, "We're supposed to send 10% to the big man. And you're the big man, Joe, right? I think you're the big man." Oh, okay. I'm going to skip ahead then, Cirrus, because Proud Boys, Biden called them poor boys. He literally called them poor boys. It was kind of awesome. So yeah, let me see here. So Biden said, nothing was unethical about my son working for Ukraine. And, Trump pointed out that his son literally was off of work for years, had no experience, and then took $3.5 million from that company and had a job for $186,000 a month, with like literally no experience. And it happened right when Joe became VP. So yeah, I would say that's probably nepotism. I think that's fair to say. Joe went at Trump for his taxes, things like that. And then Trump said, "I have many, many bank accounts all over." And then he pointed to Biden and said, "His son and brother and other brother are making millions off of him." And I was like, interesting, because I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he is pretty rich. Biden did say malarkey. Drink. He said it twice, actually. One of the most infuriating moments of the night for me was when Biden said not a single person lost their insurance during Obamacare unless they chose to end it. Now, I guess if you're gonna play semantics, but what he left out was that the only people who canceled it were ones who couldn't afford it. So instead of acting like he is, like this wonderful person, and Obamacare was like the be all end all, and it was like there's nothing better than it, and they offered it to everyone, is bullshit. So yeah, the fact that he said that was really was just takes a lot to offend me, but that was offensive. Excuse me, I have allergies. um then Trump said, this was a gem, Kamala is more liberal than Bernie Sanders. Now, okay, so here, well, I thought of that too, Nathan. I thought of that too. People that lost their jobs too, because they went on Cobra and it was too expensive and they got off of it. But yeah, so Trump said Kamala is more liberal than Bernie Sanders. Now, that was hilarious, but at the same time, I was like, well, if you mean liberal as in shitlib, yes. But I think he meant liberal as in progressive. I wish. If only Dems were who the Republicans say they are, like a bunch of freaking, Dems are a bunch of socialists who want to give free health care and all this shit. It's like, yes, please. Svetlana, good point. The pores. So unfortunately, okay, I know a lot of you guys feel this way. When Trump says something like, you're like, yes, it makes you feel like you hate yourself and you're going to hell because you're like, why are you cheering for that piece of shit? But Trump said, they were talking about immigration, and Trump said, who built the cages, Joe? And I was just like, damn. Because, like, we've all waited for someone to say that to Joe. Like, we've all waited for it. If, I made a post about it last night. All we've seen, that term is what we've heard more than any other term in the past 4 years, is kids in cages. That is what we have heard. If you don't vote for Joe, kids in cages. If you just everything, kids in cages. But people go off when you bring up the fact that they actually started under Obama, and Obama was nicknamed Deporter in Chief. So I think, even though it was a piece of utter garbage who brought up the point, it was good to see somebody finally say, hey, who built those cages? And, of course, what can Biden say to that? Nothing. I mean, it's true. Now, that doesn't negate that Trump is using them. But Joe kept trying to go back to, the 500, I believe it's 525 children who are missing their parents, which is just so incredibly atrocious. But he was using that to deflect from answering Trump's question about, you're the one that built the cages. Not to say Trump wouldn't build them if they hadn't already, but I think it's, it's that uh it's the selective outrage from people. Um Trump, as far as race in America, I couldn't write fast enough for Biden because he's just such a damn mess. Biden said, okay, we need fundamental change. Biden said that. Okay, now what has been the one thing we've said about Biden this entire time? How he literally said, if I'm elected president, nothing will fundamentally change. He has said that. And then tonight he said, we need fundamental change. So you're saying we need it. You're just not going to give it to us. That's what you're saying. It was just, oh my God. It's just beyond frustrating. Trump said, nobody has done more for the Black community than Donald Trump, except maybe Abraham Lincoln, but not likely. Oh my God. And then, like I said, Biden said, poor boys. He said, poor boys stand up and stand by. Svetlana, we right here. Yep. You guys are spot on. Biden said climate warming. That's just being nitpicky, but it was funny as hell. Biden said that under him, we can have wind and solar jobs for $45 to $50 an hour. But Trump thinks windmills cause cancer. So that second part was a good dig. But the first part, $45 to $50 an hour. Are you kidding me? There's so many people unemployed, and you're trying to say that you're suddenly going to give people $45 to $50 an hour when you haven't even signed on to the fact that Bernie's been pushing fight for 15. Come on, dude. Come on, man. Come on, Jack. If I took a shot for every time Biden said, come on, I'd be smashed. I'm just a poor boy. Nobody loves me. Yeah, Joe closed by saying, we want to choose science over fiction, which he, infamously first said, science over fact. And he said, choose hope over fear. Dude, you and your man told us hope and change. We chose hope twice. Get something new, because we have none anymore. We haven't had it for a long ass time. And lastly, Biden said, what is on the ballot is the character of our country. So that's pretty fucking depressing. Because let's think about it. The character is two men who can't keep their hands to themselves, say racist and xenophobic things, have completely ignored the progressive policies that people want, um, you name it. So it's I don't know, you guys. I just have like no fucking hope, like at all, regardless of who, would so supposedly win. Um, I think, and something else I was thinking about today that's going to be really crazy is, you know, everyone's talking November 3rd, but we're not really going to know the true results for like another week. So it's going to be an incredible just mind fuck watching the results on the 3rd and seeing whichever wins. And what's going to happen is people are going to jump the gun just like they did with Charles Booker. Like they were like, oh my God, he won, he won. I was like, you guys, ballots are not done counting. Stop. And I was getting so pissed off. And then everyone kept saying it for days, victory, victory. And he lost. So it's going to be like that for like a week. It's going to be, you know, I don't know, guys. Just drop in the comments who you think is going to win. Not who you want to win, but who you think is going to win. For over a year, I've been saying I think Trump's going to win again. I really do. It's like, I don't know. It's like I can just kind of feel it. And I'm in Pennsylvania, and I really think Trump's going to win Pennsylvania again. Jim, all right. Yeah, the Muppets in the box seats. Yes. Yes. We need that. Well, Brad, I was thinking that too. I mean, even if Biden wins the popular vote, that doesn't really mean anything. Um, See, the thing that is so just different about Trump, though, is that even though his people are utter racist pieces of shit, Trump does have a movement. And in that movement of fascist and racist and garbage are people who have made over 1 million phone calls each month and are people who will literally ride or die for him. Biden has no one. Like, he doesn't even have. I was dealing with a staff member of his last night on Twitter who was cursing people out and vote shaming them. Like, he doesn't even have a capable staff who can recruit voters. So it's really just, it's crazy. You know, the thing is, there were two candidates who had a movement, Trump and Bernie. They chose Biden, who quite possibly could be the only person in the world next to Hillary who wouldn't beat Trump. And that is quite feasible and scary. And someone else said on Twitter the other day, which was I thought was a really good point, which was you know, if Biden was that great of a person, would it really be this close? Because it's close. Like, it is close. Seriously close. And I think regardless of who wins, it really will be pretty tight. Yeah, yard signs really don't, I mean, dictate. Yeah, Bloomberg's bad too, but I don't know. I just Biden is like, you know, I think a lot of it is that he's not mentally coherent all the time as well. And it just kind of exacerbates all the other flaws. I think that's kind of what makes him stand out as being even less electable than Hillary. Like Hillary is a dumpster fire, but at least she had the I'm a woman. Oh yeah, in Pennsylvania, I have a Biden next door to me, and other than that, I see Trump non-stop. I mean, just hundreds of Trump signs. And I'm outside of Harrisburg. Um, because the thing is, a lot of people that vote for Biden are not the let's wear t-shirts, let's have signs. They're not that hype. They're like, I'm voting for Biden because I hate Trump. He doesn't have that excitement. Um, so we'll see. I mean, it's really I don't know. It could go so many different ways. It really could. It's scary, but I mean, in a way, I kind of want to fast forward 2 weeks, but in a way, I'm also like so scared that I want to just put everything on pause and not. um, but yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to my wrap up of the second and last debate. I have some rad shows coming up. Dr. Dooley will be coming back. And I've got some other people I'm setting up times with, so should be fun. And I will be on Ryan Knight's show 2 days after the election. So that should be interesting. I'm sure we'll get a lot of support regardless. But yeah, oh my god, you guys. You guys are my sanity because I can't freaking do this shit alone. I just can't. Oh my god. We're so fucked. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are the best. Please hit the follow button and hit that like button. And if you'd like to help me out to pay my $70 streaming each month, I do Patreon for $3 a month, which helps a lot, which is Savage Joy Marie Mann. If you want to check that out on Patreon, and also my other YouTube channel, which has over 300 of my prior shows. Also Savage Joy Marie Mann. So please subscribe to that as well. So thank you so much again for tuning in. I love you guys back. Thank you. Oh, and savageandpat.com for our book. Much love, guys. Whoop-de-woo.